Phillies played 3 straight playoff teams, okay, from a season ago in the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Buccaneers. And we keep doing these segments on Countdown, and I'm interested in your perspective because, again, you've been so much more involved in it at a level just below these guys' level. If you're 4-0, I assume that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
And yet it was interesting. That's 2 interestings already.
Come on.
The perspective that Jason Kelce shares, clearly knowing that room, he wasn't saying there are problems, but 4-0, of course, that's all that matters. And yet, not one completion in the second half of a football game against Tampa Bay. They've been outgained through 4 games by more than 250 yards, which, okay. A.J. Brown got paid a ton of money. He's got 1 more catch for the season than Puka had in the game Sunday. Saquon's got like 85 yards the last 2 weeks combined. So there's this notion of at some point, might you get got? But I ping pong back to the other side and I say, well, in 1 year, they haven't lost a single game that Jalen Hurts started and finished. Organizationally, I think they know what matters, and I don't think that your fantasy football team and the star player stats ultimately make no difference. A.J. Brown can send out cryptic tweets. Wide receivers and cornerbacks, we know they can be divas and they get in their feelings. You got a Rolls Royce and you earned it. I come back to, in the end, none of the other numbers matter.
You mentioned the competition, but on the other side, you have the total opposite in Buffalo and what they've faced. Jason's very, very close to that situation.
Correct.
Very close. And knowing how much of a perfectionist he was as the quarterback of the offensive line, he is looking at things as a very, very, very hard grader. He wants it to be great. Why? Because on top of that, you see Barkley going for 80, Barkley going for 70. We haven't seen that this year. And people just expect, because he did it last year, he's going to do it again this year. You know, plenty of time in the offseason. Hey, when these running backs get to this age and this, there were plenty of things that said it wasn't going to happen again.
Well, 2,000-yard seasons are pretty rare.
Exactly. But we get bought into it and everybody thinks it could just happen again. It's really hard. Think about how many long runs he busted out last year to get there.
Never ending.
Yeah. So it's not pretty, which makes people frustrated. And then obviously the Eagles are thrown in our face every single way possible. So you're going to have an opinion. And now it's getting to the point of the Chiefs where you like them or you don't.
Yeah, and they have a play that they love, don't blame you, and everyone else hates. I understand it. Any team that wins a lot, that then has a play that's, I don't know about all that, then you add Philly to the mix.
Exactly. Perfect storm. So I go back and look at, you had the Jalen Carter fiasco to start the season, right? So then he doesn't play that game. You are up against it, and plenty has been made about A.J. Brown. He wins the Rams game for you in the second half.
Yep. Then
you have last week where you just dominate the first half, and it's like, you know what? Let's get out. We're up 3 scores.
Totally
at half.
agree. That's the game script that followed was they jumped Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay's game script has been we'll figure out in the last seconds of the game 3 straight times how to win it. And they damn near tied it. They had opportunities. They just weren't able to. But that's what a good team does. What a great team does. We don't give a shit. After 60 minutes, are we ahead? Yeah, let's go back to Philly 4-0.
Correct. And, you know, they run the ball effectively when they had to. Their defense is still going through it. There's a lot of youth on that back end.
A lot of talent, too.
Yeah. And they got the job done. Would you rather be at the bottom of the NFC East? No. It's just we overanalyze this league and this team so much where it's just like, guys, I mean, we do it. We do a podcast twice a week. One of them's really talking NFL. We don't touch the NFL on Saturdays. And I find myself, am I going to say this again? Am I going to repeat myself again? You know what? Let me try and say something different. Or am I going to put the tape on and think something different so I have something different? And everybody in the world's, got their opinions on it. So I try and stay away and make my own assessments. I think it's a damn good win to go to Tampa and win, knowing what that team's capable of. And, they were down a couple guys, whatever you want. We're going to get into injuries, I'm sure. So I have zero. The Eagles, here's the one thing I will say that makes this different. And that's why the NFL is one of one. As this season moves on and then we get into the tournament, you don't have to beat them 4 out of 7. Takes once.
Yep.
And then everybody gets bought into, can we go to Philly and win? Can we go there?
When Greeny's home resting, let's allow Greeny to rest. We don't have to bring his spirit into the show, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in football. The reason they're the best team in football is because they're the most consistent. And I get it, man. Sometimes the Cowboys walk into the stadium and they're a 10. They got on a fur coat. They got on new makeup. They got extensions. They got on long eyelashes. And we feel to ourselves, oh my God, that's the most beautiful girl at the ball. And then sometimes they show up and they got a side ponytail, but it's like a get it girl and it's not one with the weave. They got 3 little pieces of hair sticking out and they got on pajamas and they got on Uggs. And then you're like, maybe that's not the one. The Philadelphia Eagles show up every week with their A game. They have a quarterback that's playing the best football in the entire league. He's up there with the Mahomes, with the Tua Tagovailoas. He's that type of player. And defensively, they understand how to get pressure, which we saw last week against Tennessee, and they're shoring up the run game. The Philadelphia Eagles need to focus on them, not the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are the team with the eyes looking up. The Philadelphia Eagles don't have to look down.
Philly is favored by 3.5 with an over-under of 43.5. We saw the Eagles with an intriguing variation of the tush push last week. Sean Payton said this week that it's the safest play in football.
I love it. We know that the Eagles are super talented, right? They're the most talented team in football, but haven't played like that yet.
I think the Eagles are going to be focused and motivated to play better offensively than they have. If they can just take the second half of the Rams game and the first half of the Bucs game, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
If they take the first half of the Rams game and the second half of the Bucs game, they're screwed. I got the Eagles 24-20.
4 games, 0 losses. The Philadelphia Eagles aren't just winning. They're devouring souls on the gridiron, stacking a brutal 10-game win streak that includes playoffs, a home fortress unbreakable for 12 straight. But here's the gut punch that keeps you up at night. They're ranked a shocking 12th in DVOA, scraping by on fumes while the league whispers of impending doom. Jalen Hurts? He's torching defenses like a god among mortals, rubbing shoulders with Mahomes and Tagovailoa in the MVP shadows. This isn't luck. It's a machine built for carnage. Yet, one slip, and that empire crumbles into NFC East rubble. Eagles fans, feel that chill? It's the thrill of the precipice. But dominance demands dissection. Let's peel back the glamour to expose the grit holding this beast together. Forget the Dallas Cowboys bi-monthly makeovers. One week they're strutting in fur coats and false lashes, the next in ratty pajamas, begging for mercy. The Eagles? They arrive every damn Sunday with their A-game sharpened to a lethal edge. No distractions, no diva dramatics. We saw it crush the Cowboys 24-20 inches, that lightning-lashed opener, a prophetic gutting that silenced the NFC East hyenas. Now, facing a Broncos squad desperate for relevance, Philly's the apex predator, favored by 3. 5 points. Over-under locked at 43.5. Because when Hurts starts and finishes, they're 4-0 and untouchable. But dare we ask, is this steel or just painted rust waiting to flake? That edge, it's forged in the fire of a defense that's evolving from chaos to conquest, but at what bloody cost? Defensively, the Eagles are a storm front rolling in. Last week's Tennessee takedown? Pure poetry and pain. Sacking QBs like they're discarding trash. They're shoring the run game with youth that's raw, reckless, talented enough to terrify. Remember the Jalen Carter fiasco that kicked off this season like a lit fuse? He sat, they staggered. Now he's back, a wrecking ball in human form. Against the Broncos' fragile line, expect bones to crack, dreams to shatter. This back end's green, sure, but it's hungry, devouring yards like the 250 they've outgained foes overall. Wait, no, They've been outgained by over 250 yards through 4 games, yet victory's venom still flows. Controversy brews. Is it genius or a house of cards teetering? Offense, though. That's where the real knife twists. A talented arsenal sputtering in the shadows. Enter the tush push. That sneaky, soul-crushing variation the Eagles unleashed last week. Sean Payton calling it the safest play in football, while the purists howl blasphemy. Love it or loathe it, it's Philly's dark art, propping up a run game that's seen Saquon Barkley limp to just 85 yards over the last 2 weeks combined. Super talented? Hell yes, the most stacked roster in the league. But they haven't ignited yet. To think second-half Rams explosion fused with first-half Bucs dominance, get it right against Denver, and its coronation. Botch it, and the collapse cascades. Eagles, your divas in disguise. A.J. Brown, paid king with catches barely edging Puka Nakua's Sunday snag, tweeting cryptics like a scorned star. Feel the fracture lines? Yet amid the whispers of weakness, one truth roars louder. Undefeated doesn't lie, but the tournament demands blood. 3 straight playoff beasts felled. Chiefs, Rams, Bucs, and now the Broncos dare step into the Coliseum? Phillies 4-0, but the numbers sneer. A.J. Brown's haul? One more catch than Puka's lone grab. Saquon's echoes of last year's 2,000-yard myth, buried under 70-yard ghosts. Outgained, outshot, yet unbeaten in every Hurts-led finale. Jason Kelce, that perfectionist oracle, grades hard. No completions in Tampa's second half. A red flag flapping in the victory wind. Buffalo's flip-side famine? Starved runs. Shattered expectations. Eagles, you're the hated kings now. Tush-push your scepter in a perfect storm of spite. But great teams don't care about the clock. Ahead after 60. Lock it. Load the bus. Zero worry here. This is therapy for the tortured fan soul. So, as the Broncos loom, one burning question. Will Philly's fire consume, or will the cracks finally spiderweb into surrender? I've got the Eagles grinding out a 24-20 nail-biter over Denver, focused, ferocious, finally sinking that talent torrent. No overanalysis, no podcast ping-pong, just tape, truth. They're the best because they endure. You, 2-0-6-0 warriors in the trenches of fandom, this is your rush, your rage, your redemption. Hit play. Subscribe to NFL Therapy Hoops Hits for the unfiltered fix. Eagles soar or soar higher? Watch, worry, worship. Game on.